Hey,
How's
bud.
it- I see you're growing the lettuce out.
Growing the old crop top up there. Yeah, buddy.
Nice. It's no shave and no haircut November.
That's right. That's
Although
right.
now we're in December, so it is what it is.
It is what it is. Right. That's right. How you been, bud?
Good, man. Good. Good to see you.
You as well?
Missed you last night, but
Yeah, sorry.
hoping the kids feel better.
Yeah. Yep, they seem to be doing better tonight.
Good.
Yeah. So
Good.
been 2 weeks. How was Thanksgiving?
It was good, man. How was yours?
I can't complain.
Excellent.
Ate some good food.
Yeah,
Good
buddy.
family time.
Too much as usual.
Always. So, well, without further ado, this is Tailgate Trash Talk, episode 10. My man Gary Freeze here. We're back in action after a week hiatus due to Thanksgiving. And man, what a week last week was. Rivalry week. Best time of college.
We almost had utter chaos. Like,
Utter.
If Auburn holds on against Alabama, that is potentially utter fucking chaos going into championship weekend.
Oh, yeah.
And sure. I would have loved it, but
we've been embracing it all season long. Every single week there's been upsets.
Give me that chaos.
And rivalry week did not disappoint. So let's just get down to it. We're just going to touch base on a few of the games from last week. Then we'll touch base on the conference championships this week, and then get into our Heisman Stock Report, our first 4 in and out. And then we're gonna kind of do something different that we haven't done all season, and that's just kind of talk about what college football is today and that coaching carousel that keeps on spinning around. I mean, there's
been some upsets. There's been some upsets and some real surprises.
There's been some
great, man.
There's been some upsets in college football games. There's been some upsets in some coaching hires.
Yeah, right.
So welcome to college football 2021.
Yeah, buddy. That coup by USC, man. I can't wait to talk about that.
All right. So without further ado, good evening, good morning, good afternoon, whenever the fuck you're listening. This is Tailgate Trash Talk, episode 10. My man Gary Freeze here alongside me, and we're just about ready to talk college football here and everything in between. So really, I guess the big game for a couple big games on Friday, we had Missouri and Arkansas. Arkansas 34-17, really not much of a contest there. But Arkansas took care of business like they should.
That's a good win to put a stamp on a good season.
On a good season, exactly.
They're going to get a good bowl, and they are clearly moving in the right direction in a very tough SEC West, especially.
Yeah, I totally agree. Really, I guess the only main one that I think people were keeping their eyes out on Friday was the Cincinnati East Carolina game, and just for the fact that if Cincy goes down, then obviously everyone in the Power Five gets what they wish for, and not have a non-Power Five team.
The CFP committee can sleep easy at night, and not have to come up with excuses.
Exactly. Cincy took care of business 35-13. And they're still sitting at number 4 after the initial rankings came out yesterday. So they're still doing their part.
I think I'm finally comfortable saying if Cincy wins this week, holds serve against Houston, they're in. Right? I think I'm finally comfortable with that. It took some losses by some other teams, which still upsets me. But I think, and I don't know how you feel about it, but I think I'm finally comfortable with Cincy's in, if I'm assuming they beat Houston. And I don't think they need style points anymore. I say that for that reason, because I don't think they need to style points against Houston.
See,
I know that's I'm stretching a little bit there, but I think I'm comfortable actually saying that.
I'm with you on this one. I think they've done enough. They went into South Bend. They beat a good Notre Dame team who has won every game since that loss.
Mm-hmm.
They went into Indiana
Mm-hmm.
on the road again against an Indiana team that was supposed to be good this year.
And they're tough, right? Big Ten teams don't like playing Indiana for that reason. Now they haven't won a ton of games this year, but that's a good win, right?
Yeah.
That's not a high quality win like Notre Dame, of course, but like that's a good win against a Power 5 school. I still give them credit for that.
Yeah, I do too. Cincy has done everything that the committee was asking last year. Go play some tougher teams on the road.
Right.
You did. You won.
What's your excuse now?
Yeah, and right. So
blame them. I also look at who's behind them and who can do what behind them. Right. Notre Dame can't move above them. Notre Dame actually took a step back because of the Brian Kelly thing, which we'll talk about that in a little bit. I hate that, but they took a step back. And I think what we're looking at right now is if Bama beats Georgia, if Michigan holds serve against Iowa, and Cincy holds serve against Houston, I think we've got our top four and it's going to stay the same. I don't think that Oklahoma State beating Baylor is going to be enough for the CFP committee to just say we're putting Oklahoma State in over Cincy. I say all that because they have not valued the Big 12 very much this year. And it was clear in the Oklahoma rankings, an undefeated Oklahoma team, I think the highest they ever got was 6th, but like the initial ranking, they were 8th.
8. Yeah.
And, that just tells me that the CFP committee, I don't think they're going to put a one-loss Big 12 champion in over an undefeated Cincy team. I don't think so. Maybe, but I don't think so. That's why I'm comfortable saying Cincy's in. I think that's my rationale. Oh, I think we're had a little. You good now? There. Yeah, I don't. It wasn't loading.
No, yeah, it's all good. But I'm with you. The only thing I can see, and I agree with you on the Big 12, the CFP not thinking very highly of the Big 12 this year with the initial Oklahoma ranking. So yeah, it's going to be one of those things where do they change their minds here? And if Oklahoma State, just goes out there and just kicks Baylor's ass, I mean, you beat the number 18, you beat the number 19.
That's the X factor. Right? They go out and have 50 burger on them. Maybe.
Yeah, you have some better quality wins, and those quality wins are better than Cincinnati's. Does that leapfrog them over Notre Dame and Cincy?
I think it's possible. I do think it's possible. I do, but
I just think we've seen what the CFP committee has done so far leading up to this point. And when you say anything's possible, with what was said last night, anything is possible. And we will get to that.
I can't wait to talk about that.
Oh man. Corey Yeoman, why is Harbaugh celebrating being hey, but he got the monkey off the back, Everyone
Look, it's like that's exactly right? It's like Steve Young when he finally beat the Cowboys and he was going to the Super Bowl, right? Like, take the monkey off my fucking back, right? Yep. He hadn't even won the Super Bowl yet, I don't think, or maybe he said that after the Super Bowl win, but he said, like, I finally got here when he got to the Super Bowl and got past the Cowboys. So, like, it's a big deal. And the fact that win potentially puts them in the CFP playoff as well. It's a big deal. I know he's had his struggles against Ohio State and been blown out quite a few times, but that's a big win in Ann Arbor. Yeah. So with that being said, thank you, Corey, for leading us into the next matchup, which they call the game. Ohio State goes into Ann Arbor to take on the Wolverines. And
I'm guessing I know who you had picked in this game. I know who I had picked. I had Ohio State in this one. I think a lot of people did, just the way that they've been playing lately, especially the way they played the week prior and just the amount of points that they put up and everything. So going into Ann Arbor playing a Michigan team who's only lost one game this year to Michigan State, man, it very good game. Good game for about 3 quarters, and then Ohio State just kind of let go of everything and just gave it all to Michigan there, and Michigan just kind of they didn't take their foot off the gas pedal there, and it ended up being just a little bit more of a blowout, so to speak. 42-27 was the final, but definitely a stamp on their season, and definitely got the monkey off of Harbaugh's back with that victory.
Yeah, you're not kidding. 42-27, it doesn't tell the whole story of what that is. What that means to that program, what that means to Jim Harbaugh. Like, it just changes everything. And you're right? Like, who I would have picked if we'd had the show. I was going to Ohio State. They'd been playing so well. I've been up and down on Michigan, right? I was the buyer early on Michigan, right? Between the two of us, I was buying a bit on Michigan, and it bit me in the ass against Michigan State because they looked like the Michigan we've seen every fucking year under Harbaugh. They show a lot of promise, and then they shit the bed in the big game, right?
Yep.
This wasn't that. They had their shot still to get into the playoff, but they also had their shot at winning the Big Ten still, and they made good on it, right? Like this Michigan iteration, it's different. They run the ball so well. Hassan Haskins is a fucking superstar in the making, man. Like that dude has the potential to be a real superstar. And they've got a quarterback that can handle the ball as long as they stop putting fucking McCarthy in the game, right? Like keep McNamara in the fucking game, get McCarthy out. The dude's careless with the ball. Get him the fuck out of the game. I don't know why Harbaugh's so infatuated with the guy, but they've got the pieces in place. And I'll tell you, man, those bookend pass rushers that they have on the defensive side of the ball, they wreaked havoc on Ohio State. And Hutchinson is like a complete defensive end. The dude can stop the run, he can rush the pass. Like he's the real deal. They've got some studs on both sides of the ball, and they did what I didn't think they were going to do, man. They exercised their demons. 0-5 leading into this game, and they come and they beat Ohio State, and it's the biggest possible win. They're both one-loss teams. They're both vying for a Big 12 title, also vying for the
Big
CFP.
10 title. Yeah.
12. Yeah, I said 12, didn't I? Sorry, Big 10.
It's all good.
But yeah, and they're vying for the CFP. Like that win, as long. Okay, I'm assuming they're going to hold serve against Iowa, right? As long as they hold serve, that game put them in the playoffs. So it's a big deal.
It is, and you mentioned it. With the running game, they won the battle of the trenches on both sides of the ball. And you and I were kind of talking during that game a little bit there. Cold game, snow, might have had a little bit of a factor to play with Ohio State. And
I think so. The way that offense runs, I agree.
Yeah. So Michigan definitely took Ohio State out of their game plan, out of their element, and I did not see that coming. I don't think a lot of people did. I think everyone was, no, it's not big. No, it's not toupee.
That's all natural, baby. All natural. Big head of lettuce.
Come on, bud. No shave November. Bring it into December, bud.
Yeah, buddy.
Santa's coming down the chimney tonight.
Yes, sir.
Yes, it's a toupee. Woo. but no, I just don't think I don't think a lot of us saw Michigan doing that to Ohio State, because that's basically what Ohio State has done to Michigan ever since Harbaugh has been there. It was definitely definitely an eye opener. Because really, up until this point, you look at the teams that Michigan has played. I think this was uh
I'm a snake.
oh good times there, Corey. Good times.
Broke your train of thought.
Yep. But it almost makes you wonder if Harbaugh and company can keep that momentum up, not only for this week's game, but if they can into the CFP playoff, but also next year to come as well. Almost like a changing of the guard, so to speak, in how they have played against Ohio State.
Yeah.
Because in years past, it's been the other way around. It's been more blowouts. The games have been high scoring, but it's been 50 to 20, 50 to 30s,
Yeah.
somewhere in there in advantage Ohio State. So it's definitely interesting and eye-opening to see the flip side of a Michigan team putting everything together and winning the battle of the trenches against a team like Ohio State, who has been, the team to be in the Big Ten for the past 6-7 years.
Yeah, for sure.
So, moving on. So that was the game. Michigan 42, Ohio State 27. Next one that really had any implications was the Iron Bowl, Auburn, Alabama at Auburn, and what a game that was. Basically, Alabama could not do anything against Auburn. They ended up getting the victory 24-22, but it took 4 overtimes to get that accomplished.
And we got exposed to the worst overtime rules in football.
We said it before. We said
what
it.
What are we doing?
Yeah.
That was the Oklahoma State. Was that Oklahoma State versus? No, that was.
No, it was a
fucking.
Was it a Purdue Ohio State game?
Yes, it was Illinois versus Purdue, I think.
Something like that. Yeah.
Fucking 9 overtimes. They went for 2.
Like 19-17 was the final after 9 overtimes. Yeah. Stupid rules. Stupid rules. The NCAA has.
Look, I understand they're trying to do something, right? They're trying to do something with the rules because they've had some games in the past that did go like, I remember Eli in an Ole Miss, and I don't remember who they were playing, but I remember it was Eli playing, and they went to like 13 overtimes. But dude, the offenses were just fucking killing it.
Yeah,
they ended up scoring like 60 or 70 points or something like that. It was unbelievable. These rules suck. I always thought college football had the best overtime
best rules. Yes. Yeah,
I did. I don't know why they decided to try to fix it. Yeah, it corroded. That's how it was. Yeah, for sure. It had turned into iron ferrite, fucking fool's gold by the time it was done. But yeah, I don't know. Like this going for 2 thing. Like when they announced it, I was like, oh yeah, they have to go for 2 earlier because it used to be in the 3rd overtime after a touchdown you had to go for 2.
Yeah.
Right. When they said you have to go for 2 after in the 2nd overtime or whatever, I was like, oh yeah, okay, cool. Like we're trying to do it earlier or whatever.
Yeah,
but
no.
Then I realized what the fuck it was.
They were just going for 2 points.
What are we doing? The other thing that annoys the fuck out of me about these fucking rules is that they switch end zones.
That's
every
so
overtime. What are you doing? What are you doing? It's such a stupid fucking procedure. Just get in one end zone and let's just fucking play football if that's what we're going to do. If they want to shorten overtime, it needs to be the first 2 or the first 3 you can get a first down, right? After that, it's 1st and goal from the 20. You have 4 plays to score. That's how you fix overtime. Like, if you're really worried about it, and they're pitching it as player safety, what's more safe about a 2-point conversion than a regular down?
It's their reason behind that is the amount of plays in a game.
Fuck off.
Yeah, I
Fuck
know.
off.
Yeah, no, I'm
Stop
right there
stopping
with
the
you.
clock after first downs if you're worried about the number of plays.
Yeah,
Like,
I'm
there's an easy
right
fix.
there with you, bud. I'm right there with you.
Dumb,
You know my feelings on the overtime rules as well.
Corey makes a good point. I digress. Yeah. Corey makes a good point.
Yep.
You win, buddy.
Oh, but man, good job, Corey. Good job. Thanks for tuning in tonight, there, bud. Appreciate it.
You win.
But no, Auburn definitely exposed Alabama in this game, and it's going to be a challenge for Alabama coming up against that red hot Georgia team.
That's not a real good Auburn defense either.
No,
right? Like, that's not a real good Auburn defense that they struggled against.
No, and you look at the teams that Auburn lost to this year, and you're like, yeah, and I get, it's the Iron Bowl. Players are going to be up, more so than they would be for, an LSU game or whoever, just because it's the Iron Bowl. There's crazy things that have happened in the Iron Bowl. Most notably the 2013 kick return off a missed field goal.
Auburn's gonna win the football game. One of the best calls I've ever heard.
Yeah.
The guy was at 40 or something, and he's like, Auburn's gonna win the football game. It's such an incredible call.
Yeah. So I really thought that Alabama, I mean, I would have picked Alabama on this one, but I would have picked Alabama by probably 2 to 3
I was
scores.
laying the points, buddy.
Yeah.
I'm with you. I was laying the points.
So, give credit to Auburn. I mean, they played one hell of a game. They should have won that game, but their offense was non-existent at all throughout the entire game.
It was what, the running back or the wide receiver that went out of bounds or something? I can't remember who it was.
Running back. I believe it was the running back. When he should just slid and stayed in bounds. Keep that clock going. Yeah.
Because it ended up saving 40 seconds, and Bama scored with 17 seconds. So they'd have been throwing Hail Marys early. Yep. And maybe you get one, but the percentages, I'll take those percentages if I'm Auburn. You can't run out of bounds on that.
Corey, what about the Wolfpack game? 26 seconds, crazy stuff. Corey, I am at a loss here. I apologize. I did not see this game or see highlights of it. I just know that they won 34-30, I believe, against North Carolina. Gary, did you see this game at all?
It was ugly North Carolina defense like we've come to know. They got the ball with 26 seconds left, went down, scored a touchdown, essentially.
Okay.
Fucking North Carolina's
defense this year has just been atrocious from day one.
But it was crazy finish, man, because North Carolina was behind again, as they usually are, and then they storm back, they take a lead late, and then North Carolina State goes down and scores. I believe I've got to look it up real quick, but I believe it was on a kind of okey doke type of pass.
Okay.
I didn't watch the whole game, and I was tuning in and out because I was watching. There was another game on at that time, but it was crazy finish though. Crazy game, crazy finish.
Good deal. Couple other notable games would have been LSU, A&M. A&M going into LSU, Baton Rouge there on Coach Orgeron's last game. LSU Tiger. LSU comes out victorious, 27-24. LSU sends Coach O out a victor. And then you have Bedlam. And what a game this was as well, too. I mean, college football did not disappoint at all rivalry week, and it certainly did not disappoint point all day on Saturday. Oklahoma goes into Okie State, gets the loss, and not just one loss. They had 2 losses that day. But Okie State comes out victorious 37-33.
I like what you did there.
You like it? Yep.
Well done. Well done.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you. But yes, Okie State comes out victorious, wins the Battle of Bedlam, and keeps their CFP playoff hopes alive. Corey, you're right. You're right. I apologize. I will do better this week. I did not see that game just for the fact I was traveling back from Nebraska to South Carolina, so I didn't get to watch a lot of football on Friday at all. The only game I did watch was, unfortunately, the Nebraska-Iowa game, which we will not talk about. But yes, you are correct. Yes, I will do better. I promise you that. Mark my word. So appreciate you tuning in and keeping me on my toes and appreciate it. So
I think what made it crazier is the fact they scored 2 touchdowns. North Carolina took a lead 30-21, I think it was 9 points, 10 points. And NC State scored back-to-back touchdowns with less than 4 minutes to go.
Oh, nice. I'm definitely have to rewatch that then.
Yeah, it's crazy. And see North Carolina doing North Carolina things, essentially.
Thank you for pointing that out. Battle of Bedlam, the Cowboys, and our boy Gundy. I'm a real man. He got the victory and kept the CFP playoff hopes alive. And Oklahoma gets the loss in the wee hours of the night, and then turn around and 2 hours later, in the wee hours of the morning, they get another loss. And this one just hurts.
This one's a bigger one.
It hurts real bad.
This one's a bigger one.
Yeah, that one for sure is a bigger one. The loss against the Cowboys basically took away your CFP hopes and the playoff chances. But the next loss coming the next day, that's a game changer right there. That really is. That's a culture changer. That's
and the cascading effects of how many recruits have decommitted since.
Yeah, I think when you and I were talking yesterday, I had said I think 6, but then I read up a little bit more
9?
last night. Last night was 7, and I think a couple more.
Yeah, something like that. It's getting crazy. They're getting big numbers.
So yeah, you might be right, 9. But we did have the first recommit from decommit to Oklahoma. That Malachi Nelson, quarterback out of California,
following old boy.
Yes. So, but give it to Okie State's defense. I really haven't watched them too much this year, other than some of the key games. But that Okie State defense, man,
that's been their calling card.
They've been pretty solid. Solid all year round, and to do what they did, they were out there on the field for quite some time during that fourth quarter, and you could see Caleb Williams. He was huffing and puffing, like he was tired. He was tired there. It looked like he did not even want to go back out on the field for that last drive there. So I can only imagine what Yep. And, in the end, the well-conditioned Cowboys defense got a couple sacks there on that final drive from Oklahoma and sealed the victory for him. So good for Gundy and company. As long as he's been there, I think this is his second time getting to.
I think Justin
second time.
Blackman was the last time. I think.
Yeah. So I think it's his second time winning Bedlam, and second time getting to the Big 12
title game
championship. So
yeah.
So
I think it was the Justin
be an interesting week. I think you're right. All right. So touch base just a little bit on some of the key rivalry games from last week. Take a short 30-second break here from one of our sponsors, PocketPairClub.com. Pocket Pair Club, club number 26881.
That's a good groove.
I like it. Yeah, it kind of gets you in the mood of going to gamble.
That's casino music right there.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah,
I agree.
For sure.
Oh, all right. PocketPairClub.com. Pocket Pair Club, club number 26881. Thank you, Pocket Pair Club, for that 30-second sponsor break. Ronald Stokes, that last drive, OSU hand across the chest. Should have been pass interference. An OU receiver could have scored for the win. Officiating sucked both directions.
I don't think it was that egregious, to be honest. Like, they could have called it. I will agree that they could have called it, but
I'm trying to think of the play here.
He's across the chest, but he doesn't, in my opinion, he doesn't do enough to impede the receiver's ability to catch the ball that it like is egregious. And I don't like saying a lot of times that like late in the game you're officiated differently, because you really shouldn't be, but it is officiated differently. And I think what we saw there is, if you're an OU fan, it's obviously pass interference. If you're an Oklahoma State fan, it's not pass interference. It's one of those calls, if that makes sense. I think late in the game,
I'm still trying to let that go.
It doesn't stick out to you because it wasn't that obvious. To be honest, like that's my
I'm really trying to pinpoint where that one was that Ron's talking about here.
I don't think he did. That's the thing. Like, I don't think he stopped his momentum. The Oklahoma receiver didn't really make an effort to get back to the ball. I think it's one of those plays that, like, we're going to split hairs and we probably will get to a point where it's like agree to disagree, because I don't think he impeded the progress of the receiver back to the ball to the point where, like, and understand this, right, Ron, if you haven't seen a lot of our shows, like, I'm the guy that bitches about officiating. Mm-hmm. If there's something that goes wrong with the officials, like, I'm the first guy to stand on the fucking table and be like, what the fuck? I just don't think that this one was that. I don't think it rose to that level. If that makes sense. I understand anybody who had any sort of skin in the game for Oklahoma would look at that and say, oh, that's pass interference. But, like, I just don't see it that way. I didn't see it that way.
I'm glad you saw it, because I'm still trying to think of the actual play here, where it happened.
Caleb Williams underthrew, and I forget which receiver it was. He underthrew him by a couple of yards.
This was the last drive.
Yeah, it was right toward the end of the game. Okay. They were driving with the potential to take the win. I just don't. One, I don't think if he catches it, he scores. Right. I think that's a hot take. Right. But I don't know.
Was this the one where he threw it? Was it on the right side of the field?
Yes.
Okay. Yep. Now I'm with you.
He underthrew him by a few yards, and, like, the receiver turned around, and I just don't think he made enough of an effort to get back to the ball to really draw that flag. And like I said, I'm usually the guy that's up here saying, like, the refs suck, and I agree. Officiating in that game was bad. It was not very good in that game. There were a lot of calls that went both ways that were really bad. So I would agree 100% with Ron on that. I just don't know that call is one that I'm going to stand on the mountain and bitch about. There's other calls in that game that I think had an impact on the game that certainly went the wrong way. But that particular play, I'm not screaming about it being egregious.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Nope. No, appreciate it, Ron.
If
Thanks
Ed
for
Hockley was a college ref, he might be trucking a lot of people.
Yeah. All right. So we touched base on a few rivalry games from last week. So let's get down and dirty with it, and let's talk some conference championships. Friday, first one, Pac-12. You got Oregon rematch against Utah, who blew them out by like 30 points just 2 weeks ago. Who do you got, Gary?
I got Utah again. I think they match up well with Oregon. I think Oregon, they just don't have playmakers where they need them against Utah. So I've got Utah. I don't know that they're going to blow them out, maybe by a score.
All right. I'm going Oregon here, and I'm putting a stamp on Mario Cristobal, and his tenure at Oregon will be over then. After this
yeah?
victory. Yes.
Where's he going?
Don't know yet.
We'll talk about it in a little bit. All right. I like it.
So, all right. Big 12, Saturday, first game of the day, Baylor, Okie State. Okie State's favored by 5.5. This is one for me that could kind of go either direction, but here's where I'm going. And I think you're going to go with me, but if you're not going to go with me, hear me out, because after you hear my logic behind this, I think you'll want to go with me.
Okay. I'm listening. All ears, baby.
Okie, one of our sponsors, the Salute to Service, Folds of Honor, they state fans and Okie State has a lot of scholarship recipients from the Folds of Honor program foundation. So that's my reasoning. Okie State.
I like that reasoning. And you did sway me, because I literally was going to pick Baylor.
Yeah.
In the upset. But I'm in. Folds of Honor. I can't go against the sponsor. Let's go. Let's go Cowboys. Let's go Pokes.
All righty. Next game, I think, is the game that most everyone is wanting to see. Most anticipated, Georgia, Alabama. Georgia, 6.5-point favorite. Does Kirby Smart get the monkey off his back and beat Old Saban?
This has potentially the biggest effect on the playoff too.
Yes.
If Bama wins, the SEC gets 2 spots. If Georgia wins, the SEC gets 1 spot, and then we try to figure out who gets moved into that 4th spot. Is it Oklahoma State? Is it Notre Dame? Is it Ohio State? Right? I want so badly to pick Georgia, because I've been singing their praises since week 1. That defense is just unreal.
You have
I think it's Kirby Smart, man. I think he's the reason I question whether they're going to be able to win. In big games, they just seem to not be ready for games. But that all changes this weekend. Give me Georgia, and I'm laying the points. I'm laying the points because I think that Georgia defense, this might be fucking hot take central, but I think that Georgia defense holds Alabama under 20 points. I think this is a game that Georgia's going to win something like 31-17. I'm laying the points. I'm all in on the Bulldogs this year. Kirby Smart's not bad enough that he's gonna take away from this Georgia team. Give me fucking Georgia running the table, probably winning the title if we're going to talk about that, once the playoff gets set. I'm all in. That defense is unbelievable. Unbelievable.
Yeah. They are good. They are good. And I want it too, just to see who else gets in, you know?
Oh yeah, I like that discussion too.
We like seeing some upsets. We like seeing chaos. I mean, that's what college football has been all season long from week 0, basically. I'm going Alabama here though. And this one is tough. If you would have asked me yesterday, I would have picked Georgia. But I think Saban and company, after their brutal win against Auburn,
narrow escape.
Yeah, I think they went to
light
work.
That fire.
Exactly, and that's one thing with Saban's teams in big games, they come to play.
Yeah.
I think if that Alabama defense can get to Stetson Bennett and kind of create some pressures and everything else, I think they force him into making some throws and making some plays that he hasn't been able that he hasn't had to do. Yeah, exactly. And so I think that is where we're going to see Georgia start to fall apart and see the Georgia team that if they get pressured enough, this is who they are, and this is, they're not that full, complete team that everyone's been talking about all season long, because they really haven't had to go that far. So to speak, you know what I mean? Like with the quarterback play, they haven't had to make those decisions on the fly. They haven't had the pressures and everything else that I think Alabama's defense is going to bring on Saturday afternoon.
I think that's a good point, right? We sometimes run into this with teams that cruise, and Georgia had a pretty favorable schedule this year. They didn't play some of the tougher teams. They obviously didn't play Alabama in the regular season. So we haven't really seen them get pushed. And I think the prevailing thought, at least my prevailing thought, is that Georgia's just been that good. But I think you make a good point, right? Is Saban, the mad scientist, going to be able to put pressure? Is he going to do the Belichick thing and take away your strength and then ask you how good your next best player is? And if that's Stetson Bennett, can he make those plays? I think that's a great point. I really like that. I do. I like that energy you're bringing on that assessment. I think I'm all in on that Georgia defense really just stifling that Bama offense and that really being the difference. But
sure. One thing I will say too is Alabama won't have a shot at all if Bill O'Brien keeps his head in his ass.
Yeah.
Like, he needs to figure out a better game plan for Bryce Young and that Alabama offense, because what he did and what lack of what he didn't do against Auburn last week, he could be the reason why Alabama loses, because of his inability to adjust to a defense.
He's not a good in-game coach. And I think we saw that a lot in Houston, where Deshaun Watson bailed him out often.
Mm-hmm.
And I think probably, if people really want to think back to it, Bill O'Brien's reputation was built on the fact that he just happened to be the offensive coordinator when Tom Brady was his quarterback. Like, I know Bill O'Brien's got a crazy good reputation among the coaching community, but he was awful in Houston, and he's been bad in Bama as an offensive coordinator.
Yeah.
The A&M game's another example where they really struggled in game where a defense was playing them a certain way and they couldn't adjust to it. So that's a good point, right? If they can't figure it out, if Bill O'Brien can't get his head out of his ass, that offense might be in big fucking trouble.
Yeah. So that's my 2 cents. You're going Georgia. I'm going Alabama. I like the upset just because I've been an upset type of guy all season long. So we'll stick with it. Houston, Cincinnati, Cincy, 10.5 point favorite.
Please don't pick the upset in this one.
With Cincy?
Yeah.
I'm going upset on this one. I'll go right out and say it. I'm going Houston on this one, buddy. I am definitely going Houston because upset central, baby.
Yeah, buddy. I'm Cincy. Yeah, good point, Yeoman. Good point.
Coffin.
Jared Coffin. But I'm going Cincy. The last couple of weeks I've seen something from them that tells me that they're going to be ready for this game. We had talked about it for about 6 weeks, that they were kind of surviving. And the last couple of weeks, they've started to put it on people. I think we're going to see that against Houston. I honestly think they're going to win with some style, too. A couple touchdowns, maybe 3.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Ooh.
I do. I see it. I think they see the light at the end of the tunnel, and they're ready to make this thing a reality. So give me Houston by, let me go 19.
Okay, so let me throw this out there.
I'm sorry. Did I say Houston? I meant Cincy by 19.
Okay. So let me throw this out there real quick. Let you change your mind. Okay. Tomorrow's Thursday.
It is.
Okay. Friday. News comes out. Luke Fickell, new coach at Notre Dame.
I reserve the right to change my pick if he's the head coach of Notre Dame on Friday. I reserve the right to change my pick if that happens.
And we'll get to all that talk here after a bit, but I don't think that's going to happen. I think the Notre Dame AD was it Swarbrick. Yeah. I think he has class to where
he'll wait till
after the conference championship game.
When you're Notre Dame, you can call your shot too, right?
Yeah.
Like they don't have to rush to hire.
No, and he came out and said,
yeah,
I'm not going to rush.
Right. They don't have to.
If it's one day, it's one day. If it's a month, it's a month.
Right.
You know? So
it's convenient how that month time frame is like right around national championship time.
Right around that time, yeah. Yeah. Corey, where's John Gruden at? Yeah, he's at home.
He's at a clan meeting.
Jeez. Man. All right, you're going Cincy by 19. I'm going Houston by 13 here. I'm going boom.
You got a Cincy blow or a Houston blow?
Yeah, buddy.
Ooh.
Yeah, we're just blowing this stuff up.
Wow. Bring that energy.
Yep.
Nice.
Yep. 4:00.
Look, if Friday the announcement comes out, I can't disagree with you.
But see, here's the thing. There's talk about it because I'm
sending an email to Swarbrick tomorrow. Like, please wait to announce it.
Let me get my bets in first, and then after that, then after this weekend, then you can go ahead and make your decisions. Yeah. I'm going Houston, baby. I'm going Houston.
I like it, man. I like that energy, though.
So, all right, Michigan, Iowa, Big Ten championship, 8:00. Michigan, 11-point favorites. Who you got, Gary?
I've got Michigan. I feel like you're going to go upset on this one. I've got Michigan, though. I'm not a big buyer on Iowa. I wasn't a big buyer on Iowa after the Penn State win. And they followed that up with 2 straight losses, one to Purdue, and then a bad one. I can't remember who the second loss was to, but they followed that up with 2 bad losses. So I'm in on Michigan. I think they're going to hold serve. I think they're going to get to the CFP. I'm back. I'm back, baby. I'm back buying in on Michigan. I'm probably going to pay the price for that, but I'm back. I'm in Michigan. Probably by a tutty, maybe as much as 10.
Okay. John Daloon. Notre Dame really can't wait until much past Monday, or they risk their recruiting class falling apart.
I disagree.
Well, okay, John, hold that comment because we will get to it here later on here, but we will address that. And Corey, check your bandwidth. Yeah, Michael buffering over here. Jeez, Gary.
Is that me? Is that my
problem? I don't know. I mean,
we're buffering though. I know that. I mean, so I need to check my fucking.
I did my speed test and I'm at 400. So I mean, I'm good.
Then it's probably me.
Yeah. It's that Washington.
I got to talk to my wife about that fucking tentacle porn or something.
Oh.
I'm over it. I'm
you
at
know, you're
150.
you're not buying Iowa, which we should be good.
I don't know what's going on.
Jeez.
Maybe I got too many tabs open.
You know, I shouldn't be buying Iowa, especially, you know, they were down 18-19 to Nebraska last weekend, and they came back and won, and it was just, you know, good deal. You beat Nebraska. So, you know, 3-10 team or whatever they are this year, 3-9. Jeez. So yeah. But no, wait a second.
Uh-oh.
It's college football 2021 and chaos has erupted. Iowa beats Michigan. And I'm going 9.
Ooh, big win.
I'm going 9.
Comfortable win. Look, yeah. I like that.
Yep.
I like your energy with that. I don't like Iowa though. I don't like Iowa.
Yeah. Excuse me. All right. You got Michigan. I got Iowa. We're basically split down the board so far. ACC, Pittsburgh, Wake Forest, Pittsburgh 3-point favorites. Who you got?
Pittsburgh by a couple scores. 10, maybe 13.
I'm actually going Pittsburgh as well here. Kenny Pickett.
Lay the points.
One of our Heisman Stock Report buds. He's been in there for a few weeks. We're going Kenny Pickett in Pittsburgh.
I think the next 3 months are going to be Kenny Pickett's audition for the NFL. And I think we're going to see him really shine over their next 2 games. He's going to get into a good bowl when they win the ACC title, and he's going to start to pick up real momentum. I said it last night. I think he's a New York Jet next year. I do.
All right, so we're going to move after they just picked a quarterback with the first-round pick.
I do, and I talked about it last night. They've got a luxury pick with Jamal Adams.
That's so New York Jetish.
Oh, for sure. But Cardinals did it, and it paid off.
Yeah, very true. Very true.
They've got a luxury pick.
Good reference point. Good reference point.
That's kind of what I built my argument on.
Yeah. Last game of the evening, and it's not a conference game. It is a makeup game.
All right. Wait, we've got to address this before we go on, because I appreciate the comment, but that's pretty irrational, because they beat Notre Dame, they beat another Power 5 school, both on the road. Like, let's relax a little bit about the little kids table. Now, I'm with you with Boise State from many years ago. I'm with you with UCF from a few years ago. I'm with you with TCU back when they were in the Mountain West. I'm not with you on Cincy this year. Cincy has beaten a quality number 6 team in the country and another Power 5 school. Like, they've played the games they need to play. I'm out on that conversation.
So you don't want to sit at the little kids table?
No, they're not at the little kids table. Since he's not, and that's fine, right? They're still a Power 5 school, and they played them on the road. And Indiana was supposed to be much better than 2-10 this year. Let's relax about the record. They were supposed to be like a preseason top 35 or something.
You know, it's big brother, little brother here. You know, so
it is. Since he belongs in, that's my argument.
All right. So, real quick, it's not a conference championship game. It's a makeup game. USC, California. Cal is a 4-point favorite. Yeah, I'm going Cal on this one. Just because I don't care. You have my Lincoln Riley there now or anything. It doesn't change the players on that team or anything. They're going to be, fighting for their new coach or anything else like that. So I'm going Cal.
Since he's one of 2 undefeated Division I schools, so you are what your record says you are.
Undefeated.
Oh, it's fine. I get the argument. I don't like that conversation carrying over to Cincy, because they have teams don't want to play these good Group of 5 schools. They just don't. Like, SEC schools don't want to play them. The idiot Cincy said we called everybody, and Notre Dame was the only one to step to the table. So I'm over that. But I'm with you. I'm with you on the pick. I'm arguing with John by proxy.
That's all good. All good. We like some arguments. That's what we're here for. So, all right. Before we get to our salute to service,
they beat the number 6 team in the country, though. They beat the number 6 team in the country. They're undefeated.
Yep, they did beat. They were.
They are what their record says they are.
Yep.
They've got one of the best wins out of the top 10. It's so.
Yeah.
So.
Maybe
you're probably not going to watch the second half of Georgia, Alabama.
Maybe not. I mean, everyone was talking about UCF a few years ago when they went undefeated and playing Auburn in whatever bowl it was, and how
smashed them.
Yeah, Auburn was going to smash UCF, and UCF ended up winning. So
UCF won the de facto national championship that year. They beat the team
champion.
to beat the team. To be the man, you got to beat the man.
Thank you, Scott Frost. Got feeling who's taking it all. Well, that's a great question because we're going to have some. No, you know what? With all the upsets happening this weekend, Okie State.
Oh yeah,
Okie State. Just go out on a limb here.
I like it.
All right, real quick before we get to our salute to service.
Neither do I. Just bringing it up as a point.
Yeah, very true. Very true.
We can agree on that.
XL Constructors out of Overland Park, Kansas. Ryan Trotnick with XL Constructors for all your construction needs. All right, that little break was brought to you by XL Constructors out of Overland Park, Kansas, and Ryan Trotnick and team. XLConstructors.com out of Overland Park, Kansas. Well, that brings us to one of the most important segments in all of podcast history, and that is the Salute to Service, brought to you by Folds of Honor, www.foldsofonor.org.
All right. This week's episode goes to Army PFC Gibra P. Noonan. He died September 2010 during Operation New Dawn. He was from Watertown, Connecticut, 26 years old, taken way too soon. He served out of the 3rd Battalion, 15th Infantry Regiment, 4th Brigade Combat Team, 3rd Infantry Division out of Fort Stewart, Georgia. He was killed in Fallujah, Iraq, of injuries sustained in a non-combat related incident. It's far too often that we talk about these non-combat related incidents. Train like you fight like you train. Things happen. Mr. Noonan was rescued from the non-combat incident, but died the next day. It looks like this thing was being investigated for some sort of insider thing. Things happen when you're overseas, and far too soon, taken from this world. Army PFC Gibra P. Noonan, we have the watch.
One of the most important parts of our podcast is our salute to service, to honor the men and women who have put their lives ahead of everyone else's for us to live in this land of the free. It's always one of the hardest transitions, obviously. But because of them, we can keep going on, and brings us to our next segment, our Heisman Stock Report. Gary, not too much of a shakeup this week from a few weeks ago, but without further ado, your stock report, my stock report, side by side. Let's have at it.
Yeah, a few moved. Corral moved up. Walker moved up a touch, and CJ Stroud dropped a lot for me. I just think that loss against Michigan and the way he looked in that game drops him way down. And I think right now what it looks like is it's Young versus Corral, and I think it's going to come down to who the voting committee thinks was more valuable to their team, to be honest, because Ole Miss is in the top 10 to finish the season. And that's a big deal for Ole Miss and Lane Kiffin. But Matt Corral is doing the damn thing. I almost dropped Bryce Young down and put Corral in because of that performance by Bryce Young against Auburn, but I think there's some sentiment that Bryce Young has been mature beyond his years, and I think that's going to weigh on the voters, and that's why I have Bryce Young at the top. And I stayed under an hour.
You mentioned CJ Stroud and the game that he had against Michigan, or lack thereof. He still had a pretty decent game throwing the ball. I think he had still like 300 yards passing or whatnot, but yeah, just didn't look like the CJ Stroud, from the past few weeks or anything else like that. So no, I agree with you on dropping him because he was your second place behind Bryce Young there. So I had some rearranging to do. Kenneth Walker, he's been in there for a while, but after the Michigan State, Ohio State game there, where they basically just walked all over him and Michigan State there. He dropped, but really, besides that game and the Nebraska game, because in the Nebraska game he had under 100 yards as well. This guy's had like 8 games of over 100 plus yards. He's got over 1,600 yards on the season rushing. To me, he's been probably the most consistent throughout the season. And really, we've talked about it almost since week 1. You could probably throw these 5 guys on just throw them up at random on a wall and see which one sticks. And that's your Heisman, because really this year, there really hasn't been a true Heisman front runner all season long. We thought it was going to be CJ Stroud after the games that he was having. We thought it might be Bryce Young. We thought it might be Matt Corral, and because he was getting a lot of hype. He had a few bad games with everything that he's been able to do this year from last year. Cut out the interceptions. His progressions and everything else. He's been doing good. And then you have Kenneth Walker coming over from Wake Forest, and really just being the heart and soul of Michigan State there and keeping them going and keeping them in games. So really, you really can't go wrong with any of these picks. There's not a true front runner, but I think out of all of them, I think Kenneth Walker III has a slight edge just going off of consistency throughout the whole entire season.
Yeah,
so that's why he's my
argue
number
with that.
one.
I can't argue with that. I want to address what John's saying there with Hutchinson. Like, defensive linemen just don't get the Heisman hype normally.
Unfortunately,
and you got guys like Clowney and Sue, but those were guys that had big games early and got a lot of hype early. And Hutchinson's not been that guy, but he has been. Like, somebody in the NFL is going to draft that guy and get a fucking 12-year stud at defensive end. Mm-hmm. And Jordan Davis has been sneaky on some people's boards from Georgia, their defensive tackle. And somebody in the NFL is going to draft that guy and get a 12-year stud in the interior. He's a guy that threatens to be like an Aaron Donald. So, like, there's a couple of guys that on the defensive line that should get more recognition, and they don't, and it's unfair. John's right. Like, it's discrimination against defensive linemen. But the Heisman Trophy has sort of always been this, like, quarterback award. And there's been exceptions, obviously, right? Charles Woodson and some of the other exceptions. But it's just the nature of the beast with this award. But John's right. Like, Hutchinson's a fucking stud.
Yeah.
He is a stud.
Yep.
And Corey, you're right. This year's draft is going to be weird.
Yeah.
Because the best players in this draft are defensive linemen. Hutchinson, Thibodeau, maybe Jordan Davis if he comes out, because I think he's a junior, I believe. But like, this is not a quarterback heavy draft, so we're not going to get the crazy hype like we have in the past.
Yeah. Totally agree there. Unfortunately, you don't get the lineman hype either for.
You just don't.
For the Heisman.
It's the right pick in the draft, and you don't get it for the Heisman either. But those guys are crucial to teams. And John's right. Hutchinson's been a fucking stud. That guy, I said it earlier in the show. Like, that dude is probably the most complete defensive lineman in college football right now.
Yep. All right. Real quick, Gary, you're 4 in, 4 out.
Yeah, I don't have a ton of change with one exception, right? Where Ohio State was, I've got Michigan in. Moved Michigan up to 2 because that's a big win. Cincy hanging around, Alabama in there at number 4. I dropped them from 2 to 4, but not a lot of shakeup in the first 4. Notre Dame at 5, Oklahoma State at 6. I still think Notre Dame's got a real good win against Wisconsin and some good wins outside of that. So that's kind of where I stand. Baylor and Ohio State were kind of throw-ins because I don't think that either of them really have a chance to leapfrog teams in front of them unless some real serious chaos happens. I got cute last week and said 8 teams was too many. It's still too many. We look at it halfway through the season. We're like, man, there's like 10 teams that I would put in. But I think we're down to 6 teams who could get in. My top 6 there, that's my opinion. And this is kind of where I have them shaken out. John, you're right. Davis is a senior. I thought he was an underclassman, but he's not. You're right. He's a senior.
All right. Well, your first 4 in, first 4 out. Here's my first 4 in, first 4 out. Georgia, Alabama stay 1 and 2 for me. Michigan jumps up, leapfrogs Cincy, just because of the victory there. I'm not going to jump them over Alabama just because Alabama keeps on winning. But it was a good victory for Michigan over Ohio State. Then Cincy at 4. Then I have Notre Dame at 5. Okie State, the Cowboys at 6. 7, Ohio State. They dropped from, I think they were 3. Yeah, they were 3 last week. They dropped down to number 7. And then I have Ole Miss at 8. This one was probably a stretch here. I probably could have gone Baylor on this one. Probably should have gone Baylor on this one. But
you hit the nail on the head with Ole Miss, though. This is where the committee has them too, and I like that the committee has them.
Oh, is it really? I didn't. Okay.
I believe I'm gonna Google it real quick, but I believe that's where That's where the committee has them too. So
Okay.
I'm gonna defer to you on a few things right now because you've nailed some things on the head. But
and we came out with these.
Ole Miss is number 8 in the CFP.
Nice. We came out with these predictions before the CFP, so they should just listen to us.
Absolutely, you smashed it, buddy.
Oh, so then who's 9? Is Baylor 9?
Baylor's 9.
Okay. Yeah.
You had it right. You were tossed up between the two, and the CFP clearly was too.
And the only reason why I went Ole Miss on this one was just because
maybe
SEC play. They play in the SEC.
And the SEC West too, which is like the SEC West is the best conference in football, and it's half of a conference.
Yeah. Yep. So first 4 in, first 4 out. Our Heisman Stock Report. Gotta love it. Things are going to start to come together after this weekend, and we'll actually know who our Heisman finalists are, who will be going to New York here in 2 weeks. And we'll have a final CFP rankings come Sunday. So was it 4 days from now? We'll have our final CFP rankings and see where everything lands. But with that being said, we're going to get to some coaching news, the coaching carousel that is called college football right now. Corey, what's the game to watch this weekend?
Georgia-Bama, baby.
It's got to be Georgia-Bama.
Georgia-Bama.
Because if Georgia loses, then you're almost guaranteed two teams in the CFP championship. If Georgia wins, Alabama's out. But wait, could it be? Let's take a look here. Okay, so yeah. If some chaos breaks loose here this weekend,
if Baylor beats Oklahoma State,
do you see
Georgia beats Bama? Who goes in? Bama or Baylor?
It's a great question.
Because I think the CFP is the committee is out on Notre Dame, right?
I think so too.
I think they're out on Notre Dame because
I think they kind of made it clear last night too.
Yeah,
and
we're going to talk about it in a minute.
We'll get to it. But yeah,
is Bama in or is a champion Baylor in?
Everyone's been saying they're not going to put it for years. They're not going to put a 2-loss team into the CFP
over a champion.
Especially over a champion. So put your money where your mouth is here. Clearly, I think Alabama would probably be the better team out of the two, but
what's the CFP do?
Exactly. Other game, Corey, to me, I think the other game to watch is the Houston-Cincy game. And that's just because a lot is riding with Cincy. A lot of pressure on them to win here. Because if they don't, obviously, they're definitely not in. But if they win, and if they win slightly, and say Okie State beats Baylor handedly, does Okie State jump 2 spots and replace Cincy, an undefeated Cincy team in the CFP? So
I think that's the other game this weekend for sure.
Yeah. So
I think John makes a good point, that 13th data point, because you just said the same thing, right? Bama's the better team over Baylor, but that 13th data point, that conference title, might be the one that gets Baylor in, and it might be reluctantly for the CFP committee, but I think he's right. Yeah.
Yep. All right. We'll take a quick 30-second break here, and we'll come back and we will talk coaching carousel. So we'll be right back. All right, we are back. Tailgate giveaway. Go to backyardsportsmedia.shop for all your backyard sports needs, tailgate trash needs. Great Christmas presents on there. I just got a nice little fleece blanket, very comfortable to cuddle up with, take a little nap while you're watching some college football this weekend. Backyard Sports Media for all your tailgate trash talk and backyard sports needs. My team stole Notre Dame's coach, and I can't tell you how much fun I'm having watching the Irish meltdown on Twitter. Yeah. Yep.
One man's misery is another man's pleasure.
Yeah, exactly. So with that being said, the coaching carousel that has been taking place basically since let's just say Sunday mid-afternoon. You first get the news of Billy Napier going to Florida, be the new head coach there for the Florida Gators. Then you have probably the most shocking news of all of head coaching. USC hires Lincoln Riley from Oklahoma. And then one day later, you have LSU hiring Brian Kelly from Notre Dame.
It got weird.
It got real weird real quick.
Holy shit.
So
listen, I'm gonna put this out there right now though. Right? Yes. We did a show about what, 6, maybe 7 weeks ago.
Mm-hmm.
And we talked about when
LSU
said Coach O's out, right? And we had our list of coaches that we thought were going to be the next LSU coach, right? And I had Brian Kelly, I think at 4, something like that. I didn't have him very high because I thought he liked it at Notre Dame. But we did have somebody on the show who called this shit. Brian Kelly to LSU. So there's only 2 options, and I already said I'm out. Stove.
Man.
Fucking peacock, buddy. Take your victory lap. You fucking nailed it.
I really.
It's time to blow some donuts, buddy.
I called it back then, but as it happened on Monday, it was almost just like, wow, really? And it was the same thing with Lincoln Riley too to USC.
That was the most surprising news of the week.
That really was. And so let's touch base with Brian Kelly here.
Stingley's great, not in the Heisman, but Stingley's the best DB. Somebody's getting a stud.
Yeah.
In the draft at DB.
So Brian Kelly to LSU. And the reason why I had him at number 1 was the ceiling, I think, at Notre Dame has been hit with him. And it's not for a lack of coaching or anything else like that, but they don't have a conference championship game. But
you know what they don't have at LSU that they have at Notre Dame? Academic standards.
I was just going to say academic advisor. Yeah. And that's it.
It's so much easier to recruit the Bayou than it is up in fucking Golden Domer.
Well, and think about, you just said it though too. It's so much easier to recruit in the Bayou. One, you have so many 4 or 5-star recruits in the Bayou, like in your own backyard. Like that's what makes, Billy Napier going to Florida. I mean, look at the treasure trove that he's going to be able to
look at your backyard.
Yeah. I mean, seriously. And the same Lincoln Riley at USC. I mean, look at all of the recruits, that come from California, Louisiana, Texas, Florida, the 4 or 5-star recruits, and so that was the number 1 reason why I had Brian Kelly going to LSU was because of the players.
I think that's the number 1 reason Brian Kelly has Brian Kelly going to LSU. As well. That was the right. You called it. I can't give you enough credit for calling that because that's a big boss call.
Well, you know, a blind squirrel finds nuts every now and then. So,
and John's right. Like, I think Brian Kelly's the right hire in LSU because they need a name. They need a guy that's proven. I think Lane Kiffin's a little volatile still because of some of the things he's done at Ole Miss.
And even this year with
conferences and stuff.
Yeah, even this year with
popcorn,
like the popcorn ready.
Yeah, dude. Like, I think Brian Kelly's the right hire for LSU for sure.
Yeah. Corey Bailey.
Yeah. Orgeron heard his own fucking eardrums when he talked.
Oh, man.
Go Tigers.
Go Tigers.
Go Tigers.
Love it. Love it. Man, we need to get him on the show and I just want to listen to him talk.
I just want to hear him, all day.
I just want to hear him say, go Tigers.
Go Tigers. For 90 minutes, just say go Tigers.
Yeah. All right. So we touched base on Brian Kelly, and you touched base on that's what LSU needs. You know, he's more of a disciplinarian. That's definitely what LSU needs. You know, but the recruiting, he's obviously going to have a leg up. But you know, it's funny that it's funny that
that's a good take. That's a really good take, John. That's a good take. That's a good take.
Wow.
Lane had success in Florida.
He did.
Lane had success in the state.
But there goes my Mario Cristobal.
I know.
John.
That's a good take, though. I like that take.
That is a good one. That is. Yeah.
I think Lane is looking for the next place. Oxford's a
it's a shitty town.
That ain't a Lane Kiffin town.
No, it's not. No, he's more of a Miami guy.
South Beach.
Miami and the beach.
Coral Gables is much more Lane Kiffin.
Yep.
For sure. It's all about the U.
That's a good one.
If Kiffin goes to the U, they might get back to that swag city.
Yeah.
That's a good take.
That is a good one.
I know you want Cristobal there, though.
Man,
I knew that's where you wanted him.
I know.
It's a good fit, though.
It is.
It is a good fit.
It is. So, Corey, I get the money, but where's the loyalty to the off season anymore? Totally agree. And this is one of the points that I wanted to bring up. And this is why we kind of went to this type of segment for this episode with so much coaching changes. You don't have that loyalty, or you do to an extent, but you know, everyone gets mad at these players entering the transfer portal, going where they want to play and everything else. Now you have the NIL. The players can get paid for wherever they go. So these coaches, and I think this is the most money I've seen thrown at coaching in such a long time. I mean, a long time. Ever. I mean, I was looking at the
Franklin
coaching.
Got paid.
Michigan
State threw a bunch of money
95 million.
I didn't know the boosters were that good in East
at Michigan. Not for football.
Right. Tom Izzo, sure.
I'm coming to you. Yeah. I mean, he's proved himself. I mean, what has this guy done? You know, I mean, one winning season in 2 years, like, and you're putting 95 million in his pocket. Ooh. And like, all of this is guaranteed. Yeah. All of it's guaranteed.
Yeah.
But no, there's a loyalty to an extent, but what I don't like about what has transpired with the Oklahoma USC, with Lincoln Riley, with Brian Kelly, Notre Dame, LSU, is the timing of everything. Yeah. And I get why they have to do it because of the whole early signing period. And that's why I hate it, because Lincoln Riley, I think, did it right in a way to where he kept everything close to the vest. USC kept everything close to the vest to where he
played it so close to the vest that an hour before he signed, he said, "I'm not the next coach of LSU."
He wasn't lying, though. He wasn't lying, though.
He wasn't. You're right.
I mean,
But
no one asked him if he was the
that's
next
as close to the vest
USC.
as you could. Right. Are you leaving Oklahoma? Because then he would have had to lie.
Yeah.
They asked him, he's going to LSU. No, I'm not going to LSU, but I'm going to Pasadena. I'm getting that private jet.
No kidding. But it's, and the point that I was trying to make is, Lincoln Riley did it right to an extent to where he kept everything close to the vest, to where nothing got out in the media, to where he had a chance to tell his players in person and have a man-to-man conversation with the players that he recruited to come to Oklahoma. Whereas you hear the story on Brian Kelly. Brian Kelly's in a freaking recruit that he's recruiting for Notre Dame in California, and news breaks out that he's becoming the next head coach at LSU. And then he has to send a text message to all his players. Yeah. Like, get the fuck out of here on that one. Like, come on. Like, fuck you. Get out of here. Get off my front porch, Marcia.
Yeah. Look, nothing could ever be more uncomfortable for Lincoln Riley than that fucking brisket he posted last year. If he was comfortable posting that, I guess he'll be all right in LA. But you're right, John. He does look uncomfortable.
Oh man.
Look, Corey, I want to go. Yeah, I want to go back to that because the NIL it's a weird monster, and we've talked about it. It's going to do a number of things. One, colleges aren't going to be able to hold players hostage anymore, but NFL players and NBA players and MLB, like grown adults, go broke because they just don't know how to spend the money that they're getting. I do worry about the NIL, like making kids do weird shit.
And I think we talked about it maybe, but what they have for the NFL for rookies? They have like a money
counselors.
101. They have counselors and everything. Every college institution needs those counselors and needs those, they need to have some sort of class, so to speak, on money management because they're getting paid right now to play football in college. And, we were both college kids. We did dumb shit, on occasion,
on
these
occasion.
guys are well, a good Christian boy like myself.
Yeah, right.
Never do anything like that. But it's these college football players and college athletes in general. They're at these institutions where their faces, their names, they're out there. Like they're being looked at in every which direction. So anything that they do is going to get scrutinized, whether good or bad. Like someone's going to scrutinize them. And so if you have all that money and you don't know what to do with it, like what are you doing on, your team's not playing in the championship game this weekend. What are you doing? Oh shit, I'm going out and partying, I'm drinking, getting down with the boys, I'm going to a club, dancing, that's where stupid shit's going to happen. That's where DUIs happen. That's where, just fights happen, like all this stuff that you hear, the shootings and like just drugs and everything else like that. It's bound to happen as we get further along with the NIL.
I think so. I think you're right. And Corey, pretty extreme example, but it's a good example, right? Like Ryan, the toy review guy, a fucking 8-year-old millionaire on YouTube. It's not the same. And you're talking about guys who have access to things and college campuses that they shouldn't have access to. And even before NIL, like look at Louisville. Like they had access to cocaine and hookers when they were coming there on fucking recruit visits. Imagine what these guys are going to have access to with potentially hundreds of thousands, if not millions of dollars. So yeah, it's a great point. I know if I was a college student with access to hundreds of thousands of dollars, I'd have done a lot more dumb shit than I did.
I would have bought a lot of dumb shit.
I would have.
I still do, but
cars and yeah, like I would have done a lot of much dumber shit than I did.
Yeah. So let me ask you,
John, that's a good point. Few and far between, but there's enough of them that make like 5-6 figures that they just have. They have a lot of liquid assets that they can do dumb shit with. But yeah, the millionaires are far and few between for sure.
Yeah. So let me pose this question to you. So since other college universities are after college coaches during the season, getting them out of their contracts, blah blah blah, we've seen it happen a lot so far this year. What's it to say, you being a head coach at LSU right now, you're Brian Kelly, you really like Bryce Young at Alabama. What's it to say you're going after Bryce Young and you talk to a donor or, a sponsorship with whoever in LSU, they're going to double what he's making now with one of his deals to get him to come to LSU. Like, how far do we go? Like, where's the line being drawn here?
Yeah, I think that I think that introduces a lot of things that the NCAA didn't address with the NIL, and it's a good point. And I think this thing is going to mature as it goes. But right now, there's nothing by proxy, right? If I talk to a booster and say, hey, we need a guy who can play quarterback, or hey, we need a guy, a big wide receiver, right? Go get me Jamison Williams out of Bama and bring him over here because I need that guy. He's got fucking 4.2 speed, blah, blah, blah. So it's...
I'm sorry. Spencer Rattler's in the transfer portal. So there we go. We got ourselves a quarterback now.
Yeah, right. Yeah. But no, you make a good point, right? This NIL thing could get weird. It hasn't yet, but it's also in its first season. So we haven't seen an off season with the NIL between seasons, right? We had the NIL in the off season this year, but it was really the first instance, and we had some guys getting money and some gals getting money. But this is the first off season we're going to see where an LSU's on the brink, right? But they need 1 or 2 players. How do we go get them? How do we get them in the transfer portal? These transfer portal rules introduce new things.
Stupid.
They're
stupid.
They do, because you don't have to sit out a season.
You don't have to sit out. That's stupid.
I agree.
I mean, the NCAA, okay, so since we're just talking about the NCAA and how their rules are stupid, their overtime rules are stupid, their transfer rules are stupid, their CFP rules are stupid, that, their protocols that they go by. I mean,
yeah,
the NCAA needs to have a hard look in the mirror, and they need to address some stuff before it gets way out of hand. I mean, they're already losing control of everything. They need to rein things in before they lose it sooner rather than later.
There's no buying rights to the player, Corey. That's a good question. So under the previous non-NIL rules, essentially it was just kind of fair game. And the moment that like a player realized like this person looks a lot like me in a video game, Brian Bohannon was the first real person to say like this is me. That's when the NCAA video games went away. So it really is like the player owns their likeness. So it's just that the players, it's kind of the Wild West, and potentially they can just get lost in it. And yeah, I don't know that you need to burn it down, Josh. It needs to be changed.
Why not?
Right?
Why not?
It's new, and I think there's some potential with it. I like that players can sell their likeness. I just think that the NCAA went, oh, you guys want your likeness? Fucking have at it. Like, that's a bad approach. I'm okay. 2 years.
I like this.
I like the finish to that.
Yeah, I like the take here, John. I do. Yeah, 2 years. Sure. Yeah.
But we've seen a lot of guys go for like a semester and hit the transfer portal. We also saw De'Aaron King, who was at Houston, didn't like what was going on and just said, I'm out. I'm going to the transfer portal because I haven't played enough games for this year because it was COVID and blah, blah, blah. And I'm going to save my eligibility and et cetera. So like there's some people that are going to take advantage of the system for sure. But yeah, right. John says 15 minutes, right? You've had a cup of coffee on campus and you're transferring. 2 years, I'm with you. 2 years, it's open. It's fair game. 2 years, I think, is a good threshold.
Yeah. They're all adults.
These kids are not adults, man.
They are, though.
I was not an adult when I was a sophomore in college.
Technically you are, though. At 18, the legal age to become an adult. No shit, you still aren't. But that's
that's true too. I still am not. But I was not an adult as a sophomore in college. I can promise you that.
But it's true. Once you turn 18, you're considered an adult. You're making these decisions, where you're going to school, who you're signing with as far as your NIL deals or anything else like that. Yep. You can serve in the mill. You can buy cigarettes. Yeah. You mean emotional adult? Oh. I'm 45.
This is getting heavy in the comments.
Love it. Love it.
Yeah, John, you and I are the same, right? I'm not 45. I'm getting there, but I'm certainly not sure that I'm a fucking adult yet.
I'm not still one of those. That's true too. I know from experience, Josh Freed is still not an adult. Neither am I, bud. Neither am I.
Yeah, we have that in common.
Yeah, but no, they still, they are considered adults whenever they turn 18, or when you go to college. That is you becoming an adult. You're growing up. You're at a higher learning center. But yes, I agree that they need a financial advisor, they need something. They need something. They need something.
Yep. I need a financial advisor. I'm long out of college. Like these college students, they need something. The schools need to provide something of a resource for these players.
Gary, you there?
I think I lost you for a minute. I don't know what's going on.
I can hear you if you can hear me.
I can hear you now. Like everything.
There we go.
Okay, that was
there we go.
I don't know what's going on tonight. The internet's broken.
I don't know either.
Somebody found the last meme of the internet and it's broken.
Yep. And, the last 45 minutes or so of this show has just been, it's been awesome.
It's been great, man. This interaction has been fucking awesome. Yeah. John, Josh, Corey.
I love it.
We had
let's
see, we had Amy piping in.
Yep.
We've had a lot of real good engagement. Love it.
Good engagement tonight. I love it. Yeah. So, well, anything else you want to talk about with the coaching carousel, or you wanna call it a night?
I think we're good. We alluded to Fickle to Notre Dame, so that conspiracy's out there.
Yep.
I just want to finish with, I think the USC hire of Lincoln Riley is a bit of a coup. And I say that because what he's been able to do at Oklahoma, despite not winning titles, is he's brought in a lot of talent. He's put a lot of talent in the NFL. And I think USC needs that. And I think that's what he's going to be able to do with USC that they haven't been able to do for a long time. And John and Josh make good questions. I don't know who replaces him, to be honest, at OU. I think they're going to get somebody. I thought it was going to be Stoops.
I thought it was going to be Stoops.
I talked about that.
Yeah.
I thought Stoops was going to leave Kentucky and come, but Kentucky paid that man.
Yeah.
And he deserves to get paid.
Yeah.
He's done a great job there.
For what he's done at Kentucky.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't know if maybe OU's going to retread somebody. Maybe
Josh Heupel.
maybe a Heupel, something like that. Riley's contract is fucking
OJ
nuts.
definitely. Yeah,
nuts.
That's ridiculous.
He got used to the private jet. They paid him $1 million profit on his houses. Like, holy shit.
And now the actual terms and annual salary isn't out there yet because it's not a public school, it's a private school.
Right.
But I've heard
they're talking $100 million.
I've heard closer to I've heard closer to 15 mil a season.
Oh my goodness. Oh. Good for him. Good for him. Good for him.
You know what was my
John,
comment?
that's a good point because Lincoln was going to struggle with that. They were going to struggle to transition.
Ooh.
No. That'd be a mistake.
They were fighting words with Gary.
That'd be a huge mistake.
Oh, love it. Love it. Bill O'Brien to Oklahoma. Yes.
Man.
And if Oklahoma just wanted to do a disservice to itself, just hire Bill O'Brien.
Yeah, right. Yeah, right. If you want to ensure you're not going to be good in the SEC, hire Bill O'Brien.
Oh, man. That's a good one.
Yeah.
These coaches.
It's tough because the college game is very different because once you commit to a school, until the transfer portal came along, once you committed to a school, like you had a very short window after a guy left to transfer to another school. So it's a good point. Like these coaches are just getting tossed around and they're making a shitload of money.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. Crazy. We alluded to it earlier. All the money that college football is just throwing out at coaches this year in their contracts.
Unreal.
And the length of them too. That's just, that's what gets me.
How many 9 and 10 year contracts have we seen get exchanged here in the last 3 weeks?
4.
And how many of them did we not expect? Right, James Franklin, we thought might be going to USC.
Yeah, Michigan State.
State. Like, why are they sending him to a 9-year deal?
Have you seen what Billy Napier's is?
I haven't seen the terms of his contract. No.
I haven't either yet. It'd be interesting.
I don't know if they just haven't finalized because that's a public institution, so that should be public.
Yeah.
I just haven't seen it yet, but I assume he's getting paid.
I haven't seen it either, but yeah, I would assume he's getting paid too.
That's a good fucking hire for them, though. I really like that hire.
No, they're not incentive heavy. They're really not. No.
He got some guaranteed, huh?
Oh yeah. I almost want to say
from the Raging Cajuns to the Penthouse.
I think a lot of these contracts are guaranteed money and then incentives on making bowl games, making the college football playoff, winning the national championship. Yeah, there's like $500,000 up to $1 million on some of those. But those are extra incentives. But like the Mel Tucker deal, like the $95 million or something like that, like 90 of it's like guaranteed. You know, the only one that you and I were talking about last week, I think it was the Franklin contract, and that was the buyout. You know, the first 2 years, I think it goes like $8 million buyout, then it goes down to a $6 million buyout, and then maybe a $4 million buyout after the third year. And then anything after that, I think, is a $1 million buyout. So Penn State did things right there as far as the buyout goes. You know, after 3 years, then it's just $1 million. But still, like, his contract's guaranteed too. Now, they're probably kicking themselves that they gave him that they gave Franklin the contract extension when your defensive coordinator just took a head coaching job at what Vautech?
Yeah,
is it Vautech? I think is where Fry went.
That's right. Yeah,
yeah. So, yeah,
crazy. Oh, what a ride it's been, though. We don't normally get this much action in the coaching.
No, I love it.
We're getting
love it.
So John's right. Gainesville, fucking shithole.
Yeah,
that place is terrible.
So I just messaged one of my buddies who's a season ticket holder for Florida, and nothing's been released yet, but the speculation is $6 to $7 million a year, and he opted for less money for more recruiting money because apparently the Florida recruiting budget was like 1.2 million for the year, where Alabama, Georgia's is closer to 3 million a year for recruiting.
That's a smart move, buddy.
Smart move.
Let's make sure we can get players in here to win. Look, the difference between 6 mil and 7 mil, it ain't my money, but I'm guessing it ain't that big a fucking deal.
Yeah, not
right?
when you
make that much money.
Yeah,
you've got a 5-year deal for 30 million instead of 35 million. I think you're okay.
Yeah, totally agree. John, I honestly don't think Penn State can realistically do much better than Franklin. Gary and I were talking about that last week, and I kind of said the exact same thing.
Yeah.
He does a decent job recruiting. He has them ranked every year. He has them in that, that talk every year. They just need to finish. But it's going to be tough now when you just lost your defensive coordinator. So it'll be interesting to see how they stack defensively come next year. But yeah, I agree with you. Like James Franklin there at Penn State, like it's a good move on Penn State for signing him to that extension because of what he's done there for you, what he's built and everything. He just hasn't gotten over that hump. He's almost like a Harbaugh playing Ohio State. He hasn't gotten over that yet. It took him 7 years to do it.
You sure that game wasn't in Philadelphia, John?
Or Colorado?
Oh, yeah, dude. Yeah. There's some guys in the past that would have made a killing with NIL. Tebow's one. Guys like Cam Newton is another one. But think back to guys like Herschel Walker.
No, Cam Newton was getting paid. Cam Newton was getting paid. Cam Newton was getting paid.
In stolen laptops.
Yeah.
No, I mean, his parents got paid for sure.
Yeah,
and somehow he maintained eligibility. But whatever.
Whatever.
But yeah, some guys, I mean, in the past, and there's going to be guys in the future that would have cleaned up. Vince Young would have cleaned up with the NIL. Guys like that, especially at these big schools that just have crazy booster money.
Yeah. Yep. Oh, good conversation tonight. Very good conversation.
Sure, appreciate everybody.
Yeah,
absolutely.
This was probably one of the better. I'll go ahead and just say it right now. This was probably one of the best episodes that we've done so far, and it's because of all you guys and all the comments back and forth. So definitely appreciate it.
Yeah, that tax-free Mercedes-Benz.
Yeah, exactly. Oh,
great conversation tonight.
Yeah,
appreciate everybody. For sure.
Yes, definitely appreciate it. Make sure to go to backyardsportsmedia.shop for all your tailgate trash talk needs. Christmas is coming. It's right around the corner.
Yourself a nice Stein.
Yeah. Yes, sir. Nice little blankets, pillows, shirts, hoodies. Got it all. Free shipping on orders over $99. Oh, well, Gary, another great episode in the books. Tailgate Trash Talk, episode number 10.
I can't wait to talk after all this fucking chaos from championship weekend.
Same here, bud.
Especially if you hit on your upset picks, man. That's going to make it fun. That's going to make it fun.
It's going to be real fun. And we'll
Absolutely.
know, and then we'll know some bowl games too.
Yes, sir.
So then we can start picking some bowl games. I love it.
Yes, sir.
Love it, bud. So, well, with that being said, thank you everyone for joining in tonight and for all the comments. We definitely really appreciate it, and it made the episode that much more enjoyable.
Hell yeah.
So appreciate everyone joining in. Gary, thank you, good sir.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
What a
Always
great
good to
episode.
see you. Always good to see you. I'm sure we'll be texting back and forth here over the next couple days, and hoping for some upsets here.
Hell yeah, buddy.
Haha.
Let's make it chaos.
Let's do it, bud. Let's do it. With that being said, Tailgate Trash Talk episode number 10 in the books. Tune in next week, next Wednesday, 8 p.m. Eastern Time for another great episode of Tailgate Trash Talk. Night, everyone.